I think that we have to work on our weak points, and we have to expose our weak points so that you're embarrassed about it and that you do something about it. And so the idea was, since my weak point was calves, because you're supposed to have the calf measurement the same as the bicep measurement, so my biceps were 21 inches at that point, so my calves supposed to be 21 inches, but they only were 19. So therefore I had to go and start training with 1,000 pounds to do calf raises and to do it every day and to do 20, 25 sets. And at the end I had like 5, 6 guys sitting on my back and doing donkey raises and all that. I became a fanatic about that. But that's the only way to really win, because you got to look at the body, not just like who has the biggest body and the most muscles. That doesn't mean anything. What means something is that your posing presentation on the stage is eloquent and it fits your body, and that you have symmetry, and that you have proportions, and that you have muscle separation, and also the musculature on your body. That together makes you win, and also your whole presentation of acting like a winner up there. And so my goal was to be the greatest bodybuilder of all times. I won 13 world bodybuilding championships from the time I began. And then my goal was not only to win the bodybuilding championships and become the greatest bodybuilder, but it was always interesting for me, how can I take that fame and that name now and everything, that power, and then create a crusade. And that's why I got involved in that bodybuilding and in that fitness crusade to promote health and fitness around the world. And I was even appointed by President Bush to be then the czar, the fitness czar in America, to be the chairman of the President's Council on Fitness. And we were very successful in this last 40 years with that fitness crusade, because as you know today, there are more gymnasiums in the world than ever before. Every military station has a gymnasium, every fire station, every police station, every university, every high school, every hotel. Any hotel you go anywhere in the world now has a gymnasium. And I said in the 60s, one day we will have, and I will work towards that we will have as many gymnasiums and health clubs as we have supermarkets. This is why it is so important that we teach people and that we educate people how to eat and to exercise every day. It's not something that you do 3 times a week. I mean, 3 times a week is better than nothing, but don't be fooled. I mean, exercise is part of life. It's like sleeping and eating and sex and all of those things that we do all the time. I think this is the same with exercising. You got to do it every day, and that's how you stay in shape and that's how you stay fit. I tell you that I train every day, and this is why I am always ready. When I do a movie, it takes me 2 months to really get ready and to fine-tune the body, but I'm almost always ready to go for a movie, including Terminator, which we just finished, or Conan the Barbarian that we're going to do down the line. So all of those movies are very physical movies, and I always want to be ready. That's why exercising every day is very important. The reason why I picked bodybuilding was because I was trying all the other sports that you mentioned, if it is soccer, if it is bicycling, if it is track and field and all those things. And I think that the trick is always to find what were you meant for. And so I was not meant for that. I was not fast enough to be the soccer player. I was not, I didn't have endurance enough to be the bicycle racer and all that. So I realized when I joined the gymnasium and I started lifting weights that my body responded very quickly. And I was asked with the age of 16 to join the weightlifting team to compete against other cities. So I was the youngest member of the weightlifting team. All the others were like in their 20s and 30s. So I realized that this is my potential. Not only that I got good in weightlifting, but my body responded very quickly, and my biceps started growing, my deltoids started growing, the pectoral muscle, everything started responding very quickly. So I realized this is where my potential lies. And then I picked up this magazine with Reg Park on the cover, and I connected the two, and I went after that then, all with 100% of my passion and my energy and everything like that. So that it just all happened to fall in place, and I wanted to find a way to go to America, because I didn't want to stay in Austria. So I felt like picking an American sport that will eventually bring me to America. And sure enough, with the age of 21, I got an invitation from the publisher of the Muscle magazines, Muscle and Fitness, from Joe Weider. And he brought me to America, and finally my dream that I had about somehow sports is going to get me to America became a reality. So this is why I picked bodybuilding. And the thing with acting was because Reg Park got into movies, in the Hercules movies through his bodybuilding. So I said, maybe I could also do that and make those millions of dollars and be a big star and be, rich and famous and all, the things that kids dream of. But some kids dream of that, but my dream was really all out serious. I mean, it was like, there was no slipping back or that it's maybe a dream and that we never get there. I would have done anything, no matter how much work it takes, to get there and to make that dream also become a reality. And with the governorship, it was very simple because I said I wanted to give something back, and we had the recall election where California recalled the governor, which was Governor Davis, because his approval rating was down and they were not happy with the job that he was doing. And so I saw an opening. I just finished the Terminator 3 promotion. And all of a sudden they announced the recall election. And I went on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and I announced my candidacy on the Tonight Show rather than having the regular press conference that usually politicians do. And I ran, and 2 months later, the people of California elected me to be governor, which was something, again, that everyone said would never happen. Don't do it, it's going to be a big mistake, because California, we have 60% voters are Democrats and 40% Republicans, and I'm a Republican, so how do you win? But I didn't see that as an obstacle. I said to myself, I'm going to go and reach out to the people and explain to them what my agenda is going to be and what I'm trying to accomplish. That I'm not running as a Republican only, but I want to bring both parties together, and I want to represent everybody in California. And the people bought in. And I won the election, and I did bring both of the parties together, and we achieved a lot. Of course, you never achieve everything. That doesn't happen in politics or in anything else in life, that you achieve everything. But we achieved a lot of things, and I was very happy to be able to serve the people. I figured out through sports what are the key elements to be successful. And as I said earlier, you got to have a big vision. You got to dream big, because this is the only way you're going to get to the top. We don't get to the top by accident. And the second thing is don't be afraid to fail, which we just talked about it earlier. The other thing is that work your butt off. It is so important that you work your butt off. Don't ever look for shortcuts. You have to recognize that there are 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day. And I know there's some of you that say, wait a minute, I take more time to sleep. I said, just sleep faster, okay? Because you should only spend 6 hours in bed, because otherwise it's a waste of time. And then you have 18 hours left. Most people work, let's say 8 or 10 hours. So now you still have 8 hours left. What do we do with these 8 hours is really the question. So this is when you have to study and learn something new. When I was in the early 70s, I went to acting class. I went to college to get my degree. I was working out 5 hours a day, and I was doing construction work all at the same time. I literally used the 24 hours, and this is what made me successful. So this is another rule: work your butt off. And then here's another important one that I learned very quickly, and that is, don't listen to the naysayers. The bigger your goal is, and then when you tell people that I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z, immediately if someone says, that can't be done, come on, are you crazy? And I heard that when I was 15 years old, when I said I want to be a bodybuilding champion in Austria, that everyone said to me, the school teachers, the coaches, my parents, everyone says, that's an American sport. In Austria, you become a ski champion or bicycle champion or track and field champion, but not a bodybuilding champion. Stop, Arnold, this is crazy, you're insane. But I didn't listen. The same was in acting. They said to me when I was finished with my bodybuilding career and went into acting and met with studio executives and with agents, they immediately said to me, it will never work. I mean, first of all, look at your body, you weigh 250 pounds. I mean, do you know who the hot actors are now in the 70s? Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Woody Allen. Those are the sex symbols. Not you. I mean, they were 150 pounds. Not you. Look at this 250. I mean, Hercules movies were done in the past 10, 20 years ago. You will never make it. It won't happen. Plus you have an accent. People want to hear John Wayne talk, not an Austrian accent. Hey, maybe we can get you some parts as a Nazi officer or something like that, but you can't get to be a leading man. And then, the name, sure, I can see Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everyone is going to run into the theater when they see that name on the poster. That's what they said. He says, forget it. Don't do it. And you know something? When I then got into it, I was very determined, and I said, I'm going to work exactly as much as I did on bodybuilding. I'm going to spend 6 hours a day on accent removal classes, and speech classes, English classes, and all of those things, acting classes, everything. And it worked. Slowly I started getting parts with Lucille Ball and Art Carney, and then I was doing a movie, Streets of San Francisco, the TV show, then Stay Hungry, then I won the Golden Globe for Stay Hungry as for Best Acting Debut, then I did Pumping Iron, and then all of a sudden it was Conan the Barbarian. Here was my first movie with $20 million they spent on that movie. It was the first big international movie that Universal Studio did, and Dino De Laurentiis directing and Dino De Laurentiis producing and John Milius directing. And after we did Conan and it came out and it was #1 at the box office, that's when all of a sudden the director said, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger, we would have had to build one. Why? Because of my body. Because that's exactly what they needed for Conan, was a muscular, huge body. That's why I got the job, because I had the acting and the body. Otherwise they could have never done the movie. So all of a sudden the body that the agents and the studio executives said would be a no-no, and that's why I would never get a job, and that's why I would never be a star. All of a sudden it was a big asset. And then when we did Terminator, Jim Cameron said what worked with Arnold playing Terminator was because he talked like a machine. Because his German accent. He says if he wouldn't have had that, the line, I'll be back, would have never worked. So as you can see, you take those obstacles and you take those no's that people say, no, it won't happen, that's a terrible idea, don't do that. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to them. Just plow ahead, have your clear vision, and just overcome those obstacles. So those are kind of the basic rules that you have to have. And the other rule that I want to mention that I think that are very important to success is give something back. Don't ever think just about yourself. Think about your community, and think always about that there's people out there that are less fortunate than you, not less fortunate just financially, but also mentally. There's people maybe in Special Olympics, people that are intellectually challenged, people that maybe don't know how to read, that you can sit there with them for an hour every day and read to them and teach them how to read. There's something that each and every one of us can do to help our neighborhood, to help our state, our province, or our country. And I think this is an absolute crucial thing, is to give something back. The rules are still the same. If it is in bodybuilding or if it is in anything else. You have to have a very clear vision of where you want to go in your career. You cannot get into bodybuilding and think that just by exercising every day, that by accident you're just going to be a world champion. As I said earlier, you have to have a very clear vision, and you have to see it in front of you. And then you got to go and shoot for the stars. The bigger you shoot, the further you go. I had a very clear vision of becoming another Reg Park. Reg Park was my idol. Those that don't know who Reg Park was, he was a Mr. Universe in 1951, in 58, and in 1965. 3-time Mr. Universe, and then he became the star of Hercules movies. And I happened to see his cover on a magazine when I was in Graz, in Austria. And I bought that magazine, and there was literally the blueprint. I remember that cover shot that said, Mr. Universe becomes Hercules star. And there was the blueprint on how he trained, how he won his Mr. Universe titles, how he made his move in the movies, and how he then did this money. The hundreds of thousands of dollars that he made then in the 50s and 60s from the Hercules movies, and bought gymnasiums, a chain of gymnasiums in South Africa, and became a very successful businessman. So for me, this was the blueprint. So I immediately had a clear vision that I want to be another Reg Park, that I want to be in London winning the Mr. Universe contest. I saw myself with the trophy in the hand. I saw hundreds of bodybuilders around me looking up at me, idolizing me, and thousands of people up there cheering and standing ovation. That's what I saw. You got to have a clear vision and then go after that vision. Why is that important? Because it brings joy to you. Every set that I did, every rep that I did, every 500 pounds I lifted, every 1,000 sit-ups that I did brought me joy because it took me one step closer to turning that vision into reality. So many people don't enjoy their jobs. In America, for instance, in the latest study, it said that 74% of the people in America don't enjoy their jobs. Now imagine you work all year and all your life and you don't enjoy your job. This is because they didn't have a vision in the first place. That's why I say always to young kids, before you go out after college or before college or whatever, think about it, what you really want to do. Don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your coaches and to your mentors and all of those things. You can listen to them, but in the end, you have to make the decision. Because I tell you, my parents had no interest in bodybuilding at all. My mother and my father wanted me to have the regular Austrian life. They wanted me to follow my father's footsteps and become a police officer. They wanted me to marry a girl by the name of Heidi and have 5 kids, and then be like the Van Trapp family in The Sound of Music or something like that. So, but that's not the life that I wanted. I wanted to go to America. I wanted to be a world champion in bodybuilding. I wanted to get into movies and be a movie star and all this. They didn't understand that, and they were totally against all of that. Well, the bottom line is, if you keep focused and you can see your goal, then it never should be a big problem, because remember, everyone, no matter how successful you are, you will have failures. Don't ever fool yourself. I have had many, many failures. Movies that went in the toilet that didn't work well. In my bodybuilding, I lost competitions, and in my personal life, I've had failures. This is what happens. But what makes you a winner is that when you fail, you get up again and you dust yourself off and you keep going towards your goal.